Hello, everybody, and welcome back for the Lightning set review. Now, I had my qualms with this set, and I'll get into that with the Lightning stuff, and I'll get into that later. But I want to know what you think, obviously. But thanks for coming back. Thanks for listening. We got another one every day of the week, so make sure you are looking forward to those. And without further ado, let's get started. Now we have Avjang, 3-cost backup automaton. When Amjan enters the field, choose a forward of cost 3 or less in your break zone and add it to your hand. I brought him on because I think it's cool when Lightning has recursion like this. There's a lot of good 3-drops that the deck that Lightning uses. We have Sage already, but I think more cards like this, and I think Crow, right? Crow brings something back. More cards like this are very good. I wish it had a way to remove itself, but I think now the way the meta is shifting, we're going to have other cards to do that for us. So if your deck revolves around 3-drops, Avjang will definitely be useful along with Sage and things like that. So, Hadegar, Shinra Executive backup. When he enters the field, you may discard 2 cards. When you do so, choose a forward, break it. It's okay. And for a Lightning tap, you can put him into the break zone, reveal top 5 cards of your deck, add a forward among them to your hand, and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck. Now, I put him in here. He's cheap, and it is removal, and it very fits with Lightning's like sometimes over costly ways to remove things. Now, again, we're not going to see that Shinra versus Avalanche starter deck, I think, until another month or so after. But I think cards like this are going to be necessary because they're going to have the. Now, you might need the name for an S, or you might need the job for a reason, right? Like, if for every Shinra executive you control or whatever, you can do this or that. So he will definitely see some play, I think, if the rest of that deck looks good. Trapdoor. So we already saw the other monster. If you like. The one that builds up tokens at the end of the turn, and then you can reduce something by 2,000. But if you control 3 or more Lightning backups, Trapdoor also becomes a forward with 8,000 power. When Trapdoor is put from the field into the break zone, choose a forward your opponent controls, break it. I like this one. This is another power creep card. Before we would only have forward like monsters that would break something for paying the cost or whatever, but now we have a forward and it breaks something when it leaves. So still very good. It's a solid card, 3/8 above the curve, and it removes something, so there's value there too. We have Roche, haste. If you don't control any characters, the cost required to play Roche is reduced by 2. And damage 3, Roche gains 3,000 power. So if you open him in your first hand and you haven't played anything, you can drop him for free, and then you can start developing your backboard. So solid card, definitely will see play, I think. It's just going to be a quick way to start getting in damage that turn 0 pretty much. There might be a world too where you can swing in and get 3 points of damage, right? There might be Lightning aggro where you're playing all the 2-drop hasters and just swinging in for damage on turn 1. If you're going second, then you can possibly get more than that. We don't know. So yeah, just something to think about there. He will probably see some play. I think it's definitely going to be outside of the 7, though. I don't know if there's a soldier stuff coming up, but we'll see, right? Ravis, during this turn, if a job captain you controlled has been put from the field into the break zone, the cost required to cast Ravis is reduced by 4. When Ravis enters the field or is put from the field into the break zone, choose a forward. It loses 5,000 power. The Ravis guy has been, I think, we've had a couple of him already, but I'm not really interested. Like, I think it's cool that he's 15, so we have more 15 forwards. His effect to be, reduced by 4 is very useful as well. But how often are we going to get all of those effects, right? So if we do a quick search for Cat 15 cards, let me get you there really quick. We have a 4-drop Ravis. We have him once before. So, and as far as captains go, Glauca, and he's a captain. So if the other one happens to leave the field before this, you can play this one. I don't know. And then when he enters the field or is put from the field in the break zone, choose a forward, remove it loses 5,000 power. The entry is fine and the removal is also fine, but unless you're doing it both on one turn, or it's gonna make a difference. I don't know how often you'll play this card. We don't use the other one enough right now, but you know, he is 15, so he might find his way into a deck. Also, the other Noctis, the Earth Noctis, is another 5-drop or less for him. Actually, I think that's only Earth cards, so maybe not. Dragoon, 5-drop, multiple copies. When a Dragoon enters the field, choose a forward until the end turn loses 3,000 power for each job Dragoon or card named Dragoon you control. So I think this one's gonna make it into the Dragoon list for sure. The reason is because now, outside of waiting for, having multiple Freyas, you're gonna have different opportunities to single target stuff. Before, we only had the Kane that would remove a backup or whatever, and now we have this guy, and he's not too bad, right? And then with the amount of cards you're drawing with Alus, paying for him shouldn't be a problem. And then just you should hopefully kill something with if you have at least three Dragoons, right? And it's obviously not specified forward or backup Dragoons as long as it's job or card name. So we already have all those other Dragoons that we need. So it should make its way into the list. It might be a different version of the list. But we do also just means we have more Dragoons to throw in there to draw for Alus. If anything else, he's just another name for more CP. Ramu, Sylph, and Luso. Choose up to 2 forwards, deal them 1,000 damage and 1,000 more for each card named Ramu in your break zone. Really good. When a lightning job primal enters the field, activate Sylph. Choose a forward you control during this turn. The next damage dealt to it is reduced by 2,000. You can only use this ability if you control job lightning. So it's a very defensive card. I like it. When we have to remember that too, when these effects come in, it'll trigger so we can respond to use this on somebody. When the primals come in, we can use this, it'll trigger, and then it'll activate again. So we should be able to use these effects twice per turn. So I don't think we can stack up to 4,000. I'm not sure actually, but we can definitely pick 2 forwards to take 2,000 less damage this turn. And that's what's going to be good about this card. It's cheap too, and the primal decks, we'll talk about the primals right now too, right? Luso, EX Burst. When Luso enters the field, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Add a category FFTA2 character among them to your hand and return the other cards to the bottom of the deck. For Engage, S and 1, reveal the top 5 cards of your deck. Play a category FFTA2 character among them onto the field and return the other cards to the bottom of your deck in any order. So I love that they're using the Final Fantasy Tactics art for this one. It's just cool to see that. Like they did for the other Sky Captain guy. But so he's going to be able to net you a lot of value, I think. Being as there's already a couple of Luso cards, his S shouldn't be a problem. And I'm curious if, like, when you drop him turn 1, you're going to reveal. You obviously would get another Luso, right? It doesn't say you can't get other than Luso. So if you're able to do it on turn 2 when you have a backup, then you just play something else from your hand. You can always just continue to play cards from your hand, and hopefully the FFTA2 nets you enough value to get there, right? Now, I don't know all the FFTA2 stuff, but I don't think... Let's take another quick look at those two. I think they're a little scattered all over the... Yeah, they're a little scattered and not too much value, right? We have the Adele, Luso, Iluas. I guess putting in the Sid of Clan Gully would be good. And I think... we have the Herdies. A Herdy would also be good. Yeah, it should be cool. We actually have 2 other Lusos already, so his S shouldn't be a problem. I think he provides a lot, but my problem with the FFTA2 stuff is that they're all over the place. In terms of colors, right? But there's room for him in a deck, I think. Now this is the point I was getting at, guys. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, also it's technically Ice Lightning, but I think Lightning got duped this set, right? Like, they only got 1 Lightning L. Technically, every color got an L, but some got two and a multicolor. So I brought Alcid along here because we all know deep in our hearts that Alcid is definitely a lightning card, and he always has been and he always will be. It might be a misprint. They maybe just whoever is putting the mock-ups or whatever, they're like, oh, it's Alcid. It doesn't matter if he's ice lightning. He's technically still lightning, so it's going to be okay. But we all know he should be lightning ice. And so I brought him along for this, for the reveal here. We talked about Ravana, the Savior of Nath. He can attack 4 times in the same turn, cannot gain Brave. If he's dealt damage, reduce it by 5,000. And when a character is put from the field into the break zone, activate Ravana. So if we have ways to... if he kills things, right? Like, when a character is put from the field into the break zone. Anything, right? So you could have your monsters ready for this. You can have... some were saying... We talked about an Ursula sending stuff. We talked about backups that break themselves. We can talk about if you kill something, he can attack again. This card is going to be very strong if in the right hands. He doesn't have haste, but we can give him haste. There's plenty of ways to give him haste. But just something to think about, guys. He is going to be safe on his own too, so he is going to be able to like live a turn, live 2 turns. I do see Ravana coming in is going to be a big threat. Thankfully, he can't gain Brave. That's actually a very good, I respect that effect of it because the card is really strong. So just keep in mind that he's going to be something to deal with. So have your break a 6-drop or 9k or higher stuff early on and hold on to it all game. I guess you can Amaterasu him, but he'll still live because he's... whenever his deal damage is reduced, you'll negate the activation, but something else will happen where he can activate again. And he'll continue to activate, but he'll only be able to attack 4 times. When Alcid enters the field, you may play it 1 ice or lightning forward of cost 4 or less from your hand onto the field. When Alcid or an ice forward enters the field, choose up to 1 forward, freeze it. When a lightning forward you control attacks, choose a forward and dull it. So a lot of really strong effects. Again, they all seem more lightning to me. Being able to play another forward, the freezing, obviously, the freezing and dulling definitely comes from the ice stuff, but he's gonna be very controlling. I think the only thing he lacks is haste, but he's already got enough going for him. The best thing too is that when an ice forward or when a lightning forward attacks, right? So there is. You obviously play him on the turn you already have forwards, and then you get more value from him that way. So you're going to be able to, let's say you have Ilua already on the board, so he comes in, or you can, obviously bring him in, summon Ilua, classic play, but now when Ilua attacks, he's going to dull something else, leave room for your other stuff to attack. Let's say you have an ice forward already, your ice forward to attack, now you can start freezing those. So he's pretty much... snow built in. There's a handful of forwards that just freeze stuff when they attack, and he's Alcid, right? So he has all of that built into one. He's a fantastic card. Again, we all know he should be lightning, so he's here. And lastly, Ramu, Lord of Levin. If you have 2 or more lightning summons in your break zone, Ramu, Lord of Levin gains haste, which is great. And when Ramu, Lord of Levin or a lightning summon deals damage to a forward, break it. Now, I find that a little absurd already, but there is plenty of 1-drop lightning spells that just deal 1k or 2k. We just saw the other one right now, right? Ramu is a Ramu, choose up to 2 forwards, deal them 1,000 damage and 1,000 more damage for each card named Ramu in the break zone. Now, there's no stipulation on this one, right? This one it's EX burst, A, B, it's any forwards, and it doesn't matter if it's active, dull, or damaged, or anything. Ramu is going to take 2 forwards from you with 2 CP. He's going to be really strong. Both of these lightning guys are going to be strong. Now, we talked about the Sylph too, right? So they will have survivability, both of them. Mono L might be back. This might be the set. Glauca makes these guys cheaper. there's just so many things to like incorporate. Lightning already had all the tools to be strong on its own, and these guys are just gonna, make things 10 times more difficult for everyone. That's gonna wrap up the Lightning set review, guys. Leave your comments below what your favorite card is. Which primal do you like more? Do you think Alcid should be Lightning Ice? Thanks for listening, guys. I'll see you next time.